don't sleep on the bug, man. Other than being part of the silliest rock, scissors, paper joke in the MCU,
I'm made of rocks, as you can see, but don't let that intimidate you. You don't need to be afraid unless you're made of scissors.
cause rock crushes scissors, get it? Miek has come to Marvel Snap to revive a style of discard that has fallen out of the meta a little bit, and we'll get to that next. But first, who is Miek? Well, Miek is from the planet Sakaar, part of an insectoid race known as natives. Most of his hive was destroyed as a young insect, and he ended up as part of the Warbound with other gladiators like Hulk and Korg. Now, remember the damaged warp core on Hulk's ship that exploded and destroyed most of Sakaar and killed Kyera? Well, Miek actually knew that the damaged warp core was planted on Hulk's ship, but didn't tell Hulk, because Miek wanted Hulk to continue on his path of revenge. Miek and the Warbound would accompany Hulk to Earth to help Hulk smash the Illuminati. But Miek's treachery was exposed, and somehow he manages to get Scar to fight his dad, Hulk, but in the process gets yeeted onto a field of ice. Hulk actually tries to save Miek here, but Miek refused to be saved by the Hulk, instead plunging to his demise into the ice. Now in Marvel Snap, Miek is a 1-cost, 1-power card with the ability, after each turn if you discarded any cards, gain +1 power for each and move. So okay, it's important to note the order of events here. If you have Miek on the board and you discard 1 card that turn, after the end of the turn, Miek gets +1 and moves once. If you discarded 2 cards that turn, he gets +2 and moves once. So he's not pinging around the board for every discard, though that would actually be kind of funny. Anyway, just like Hercules last week, Miek is an ultra niche card, only working in the discard archetype, which actually is a welcome addition to the archetype because this card doesn't have too many 1-costs outside of Black Knight and maybe Nebula to rely on, right? So he's gonna synergize with your discard enablers like Blade, Colleen Wing, Gambit, Silver Samurai, but especially with those that discard multiple cards like Hellcow and MODOK. And of course, the cards that benefit from discarding, like Morbius, Swarm, Ghost Rider, Dracula, and Hela, are all good synergies as well. So the question really becomes, which type of discard deck best suits Miek? In the current meta that we're in, we're actually discarding less than before. The quote-unquote targeted discard style, right? With Black Knight and Ghost Rider puts out solid power, but we're only discarding like twice per game, maybe 3 times if we put in another discard enabler. That doesn't enable Miek all that much, like a 1-2, 1-3, not terrible, but kinda underwhelming. Now, remember the old MODOK, Dracula, Apocalypse decks that were super popular? That actually works much better with Miek. I mean, that deck has dropped in popularity because it's not as reliable after America Chavez was completely changed. But with Miek as an alternate win condition, it could make a comeback. So you use the old Colleen Wing Swarm combo to stuff your hand full of swarms, then MODOK on 5, discard your entire hand for a big old buff to Miek. Now I can easily see Miek getting up to like a 1-6, and that's pretty damn good stats. Now there's also the whole bit where he moves, which could come in handy for locations that you can't access, and this card needs a card like that, but you also run the risk of him moving out of a restricted location if you discard again. So you got a bit of that unpredictability there, right? Kind of like Silk. He's a glass cannon at 1 cost, but we got Kyera to protect him now. I probably wouldn't spend Spotlight Keys on him this week though. Annihilus just got nerfed and he's not in a good spot. Also, Phoenix Force, while good in some cases, is hardly reliable. Miek debuts at Series 4, so if you do like the old discard more style of play, hey, he's only 3,000 tokens,